Hello students, today we will study about electric flux and Gauss theorem. As you know, there are so many situations where we need not only the magnitude of the surface area but also its direction. The direction of a planar area vector is denoted by the normal to the plane. In the figure, a planar area element ds has been represented by a normal vector ds vector. The length of vector ds represents the magnitude ds of the area element, and if we draw n cap, a unit vector along the normal to the planar area, then ds vector will be equals to ds multiplied by n cap. And if we have a curved surface area, then we can imagine it to be divided into large number of very small area elements, and each small element of the curved surface area can be treated as a planar area. And by convention, the direction of vector associated with every area element of a closed surface is along the outward drawn normal. As you know, the term flux means some kind of flow. Flux is a property of any vector field, and the electric flux is a property of electric field. But take care, electric flux is a scalar quantity, but it is a property of vector field. The electric flux through a given area held inside an electric field is a measure of total number of electric lines of force passing normally through that area. If an electric field E passes normally through an area element delta S, then the electric flux through this area will be E into ds. But if the electric flux d phi through a small area element ds due to an electric field E at an angle theta with ds has to be found out, then d phi will be the dot product of electric field vector and the area vector, and the angle will be the angle between the E and ds, the small area chosen. And if we have to find out the electric flux for whole surface S, then we have to integrate it over the closed surface. That means the flux will be E dot S vector then. And because it is a dot product, that means it is a scalar quantity, as we have learnt in the class 11th vectors, and the SI unit of electric flux will be Newton meter square per coulomb, and the another equivalent unit is volt meter. Gauss theorem gives the relationship between the total flux passing through any closed surface and the net charge enclosed within the surface. And it states that the total flux through a closed surface is 1 by epsilon naught times the net charge enclosed by the closed surface. And mathematically, electric flux denoted by phi E equals to integral E of E dot ds over a closed surface S will be equals to summation of qi from I is equals to 1 to n represents the total charge enclosed within the surface divided by epsilon naught. And the proof of this Gauss theorem is not in our syllabus, but we have to apply Gauss theorem in different cases. Now, let us calculate Coulomb's law from Gauss theorem. As shown in figure, consider an isolated positive point charge Q placed at O. You have to select a spherical surface S of radius R centered at charge Q as a Gaussian surface. By symmetry, E has same magnitude at all points on S, and also E and ds at any point on S are directed radially outward. Therefore, you can say that the theta between E and ds is 0 degree, and the small flux d phi E over the surface ds will be equals to E dot ds, and it will be equals to EDS cos 0 degree, and it will be finally equals to EDS. Now, you have to find out the net flux over the closed surface S. Then phi E will be the surface integral of E dot ds. And you know that the total surface area will be 4 pi r square. So, the phi E will be equals to E into 4 pi r square. And by using Gauss theorem, this line integral of E dot ds must be equals to Q upon epsilon naught. So, E into 4 pi r square will be equals to Q upon epsilon naught. So, you got E is equals to Q upon 4 pi epsilon naught r square. And now, if we put a charge Q naught at a point where E has to calculate it, then the force will be given by Q naught upon 4 pi epsilon naught r square, which is Coulomb's law.